What's up guys, and welcome back to the channel where we learn, do, and talk about photography until we're sick of it. I woke up to our first snowfall of the winter. Very excitedly, couldn't think of anything better or more enjoyable than setting out to photograph it in the woods. Today I'm going to try to inspire you with a landscape photography point of view video. Equipment for today is the Canon EOS R7 and an old EF 70-200mm lens. I'll be carrying it in this sling bag, which is great for these slushy conditions because it's got this lens wipe that I can't leave without. It's built into the bag, as well as a handy, easy access rain cover. I really like using the sling bag though when I've got to carry the camera and a tripod. With everything packed up, I set out into the woods on one of my favorite trails to see how it looked in this winter dressing. A little bit of hiking, I saw this snow-covered bridge that I wanted to photograph, and knowing that I probably needed some distance, working with the 70-200, I backed away a little bit and hiked a little bit off trail into the woods so that I could catch it at an angle instead of dead on. And even at this distance, at 70mm, I still needed to capture a few stills that I merged into a panorama. You're seeing the raw file and now the adjusted crop that I took out of that panorama. I then decided I wanted to photograph some of the outcroppings on the bank of this creek, and so for that I hiked down close to the creek for a closer look. And this was the first shot that I framed up, but this tree was sort of blocking the edge of the outcropping that I wanted to focus on, and so I took a nervous, or should I say a cautious, few steps to the right to clear that obstruction and capture this photograph. Now there's a trick to editing these photos. Again, you're seeing the edit roll on over the raw file. I edited all of the photos in this video in about 20 minutes, and I'll tell you how I did that after the next batch of photos. But crossing over the bridge, I saw some details now looking back at the side of the bank that I was standing on, and decided to zoom in on those and capture some detail shots. Again, with the details, we'll be starting with the raw files, and you can see the edits then roll over the raw files for the first couple. For all of these edits, I used the automatic retro presets in Adobe Lightroom. So Lightroom comes with about 10 auto retro presets that sort of, you could say, give the photos a filmic look, but they're really great for both boosting the shadows and lowering the highlights, right, to flatten the photo out, but also for adding just a subtle bit of color into the shadows as well. And so I really like the way that these auto retro presets look. And if you're interested in purchasing Adobe Lightroom and taking that step in your photo editing, I'll leave a link in the video description for a affiliate link that gives me a commission for the sale at no extra cost to you. After those handheld shots, I was sort of wanting to set down the tripod and do some tripod photography. So I hiked over to this quadrant of the woods, which there are no trails here, and it's close to the river, and so the ecosystem is more flat and riparian, and the growth of the woods is older, and so the subject matter is very different, and the process of photographing in this area of the woods, as you see that I'm stepping into it, is also very different. And so I looked for a spot that looked like it just needed a tripod. Quick tip here. Was careful to attach the lens hood first and then remove the lens cap with the camera facing down, and using that technique, you can see the lens is nice and pristine inside, even on this slushy downfall weather. I didn't have to use the lens wipe once all day, and the lens was maintained in pretty pristine condition, exercising that little bit of extra caution. These quick connects on the camera strap that I'm using are super handy. This camera strap is $12, so I always recommend this as an accessory. Those quick connects, if it were windy, would make it very easy for me to remove that big, comfortable camera strap so that the wind is not blowing around the camera on the tripod. One of the advantages to using the tripod in this situation is that it allows me to make longer exposures, especially in this low light condition on this overcast day, so that I can capture the highest quality image. So I'm just showing you that I'm working at about 120 millimeters focal length. In fact, a 24 to 120 lens would have probably been ideal for composing in this circumstance, but I'm working with the 70 to 200 today, and now I'm showing you the full focal range from 70 to 200. My process here was just to pick out interesting trees or groupings of trees in the distance and shoot them in this situation. These auto retro presets, I was not quite so hot on the way they processed this more environmental type of scene. I stopped to make a focus stacked version, and then this focus stacked image I processed manually. And after having some time on the tripod, I pulled the camera off to try to capture some details handheld. This was a very frustrating experience with this lens because as you can see, it does not like to focus on close-up things. And so most of what I captured, I felt like I was taking more snapshots. And even trying to hold the camera really high overhead was not able to focus on the details on the ground, and ended up opting to just use my phone to capture the last detail shots that I wanted to take before I left. And even these phone shots with the automatic Lightroom presets I thought looked pretty good, and was happy with the results. Followed my footsteps back out of the woods, made one last capture of the trail before I headed home. Hope you guys enjoyed this video and the photos. If you did, leave a like. Thanks for following. Until I see you next time, keep an eye out and a foot forward. And thanks for watching.